And welcome to this special live. Not talking today about separation anxiety, although we might get onto that because it is connected to what we're going to talk about, but talking about dogs who have a phobia of noise, in particular dogs who don't like fireworks and or thunder. I know it's really topical for many of you. If you're in North America, then there's been big holiday celebrations this weekend. But even in other parts of the world, I know that as we get to, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, as we get through summer, there's thunder, there's more storms, there's more parties that seem to generate more fireworks, and it just becomes a really difficult and stressful time for our dogs. And it's not the case that every dog with separation anxiety has noise phobia, and it's not a case that every dog with noise phobia has separation anxiety, but the two certainly do intersect. However, today I want to talk to you about what happened with my own dog, Tex. I posted about this recently, and I got so many questions about how I did it that I thought, let me jump on live, tell you how I did it, in the hope that it can help you and your dog. So, a bit of background about Tex. He's a dog that definitely doesn't have separation anxiety. He's the most chill dog when you leave. He's a gorgeous chocolate Labrador mixed with about a gazillion different things. Very, very chill boy when we leave. But about 2 years after we rescued him, he started reacting to storms. Now, it was out of the blue. It seemed like it was out of the blue. He'd been perfectly fine until he wasn't. If that sounds like your dog, that's actually really, really common. And sometimes that can happen. So if that sounds like your dog, know that you're not alone. And the reason why some dogs suddenly become scared of things when they weren't before, we don't really know. They can have a one-off bad experience. They can have been hardwired. They can have been on a track to develop that phobia, noise or separation anxiety, and it just developed. So it's not always something that we did, and sometimes it does develop as they get older. So from nowhere, he develops this phobia of being not being left, but of thunder and fireworks and avalanche bombs. We live in a mountain town. We have lots of snow. There are these things called avalanche bombs that are used to control avalanches. Yes, I kid you not. And so what happened with Tex was that one second. And so with Tex, I quickly got into solution mode. I kind of knew how we would approach this. I knew what we could do. And how do we get dogs to be more comfortable with anything that they're scared of? Well, we desensitize them to it, which kind of sounds weird because what desensitization involves is exposing them to the thing that they're scared of. And with Tex, that was noise. If you've got a dog that doesn't like thunder, it's thunder. And if you've got a dog who doesn't like being left, it's being left. So we actually do expose them to what they're scared of. But what we do is we expose them at a level that isn't scary anymore. So we turn that intensity right down. And that's what desensitization is. We turn the intensity right down. We let them experience that thing that they're previously scared of. And then gradually we increase the intensity. But at every step, we're kind of saying, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We never push it too far, too fast. All well and good. The other thing that we do with most fears, not separation anxiety, but with most other fears, is we do something called counter conditioning. And that's where we say to our dogs, hey, that thing that you're really scared of? Not only is it not going to be scary anymore, because brackets, we're managing the intensity. We don't need to tell them that. But we're going to pair that experience with something amazing. And for most dogs, amazing means food. So we're going to turn down the intensity, but every time it happens, you're going to have a chicken party, or you're going to have as many bully sticks as you can eat. We want to make the experience not just no longer scary, but also now amazing. So that's what desensitization and counter conditioning is. And if you've got a dog with fear, you might have used that, because we use that process for getting dogs to like having their nails clipped, or getting them used to being around strangers, or being comfortable with the car. So we use that technique all the time. However, there's a challenge, right, when it comes to noise phobia. What's the big challenge? Managing that intensity. So I always talk about the analogy of we're literally turning a dial down on the intensity. Well, yeah, except we can't do it when the noise is generated outside. When we turn the noise down, or when we turn the intensity down with a dog who can't be left, we do that by leaving the dog for a second, or maybe 2 seconds, or maybe not even leaving the dog, maybe just doing some what we call door as a bore. That's the turning the dial down. But the noise outside, I can't do anything about how close the thunderstorm is or why the people next door to me are insisting on letting off fireworks every night this week. And I definitely can't control avalanche bombs, which, by the way, it's like thunder going off over your house, only even louder. The whole house will shake, and they go off quite far away. So intensity is the biggest challenge. When we get a dog to like having its nails clipped, we can start by just touching the dog's nails. But thunder and fireworks are pretty much all out. It's the biggest challenge with noise phobia. Okay, so how do we overcome this issue? And we can. The good news is we can. We have to think about it differently. We have to find a different way to turn down the intensity of the thing that your dog is scared of. So we have to think about this in a different way. It's not like I can get a person to be 400 meters away rather than 300 meters. That's how I would turn down the intensity for a dog who's frightened of strangers. It's not like I can go, we'll do 1 second today rather than 5. I've got to find a different way to change the intensity. And that's exactly what I did with Tex. And here's what it involves. First of all, you can't control the noise outside, but you can control the noise inside. And I'm no scientist about stuff that when it comes to noise, I'm no physicist. But I do know, and from what I've researched, I do know that you can cancel noise. I mean, we're all really familiar now with noise cancellation, right? We buy those little headphones that used to cost a fortune, and now most even cheap headphones have noise cancellation. Now, I'm not talking about putting headphones on your dog. I'm talking about using noise to cancel out other noise. So you can control the noise inside your house. So there's some good news there. So what I want you to do is think about how you can cancel out the noise. You're not going to be able to do it completely, but you have to give it a go, because that's one way we can turn down the intensity. If you can make that storm even a tiny bit quieter, you've turned down the intensity. You might not be able to deaden it out. You probably won't be able to deaden it, but you can make it less noisy. My favorites are, I like combining noise, and it's not great and it's not ideal for us, but we're doing this to get our dog through this in the moment and through this long term. So think about things like white noise, brown noise, there's all different color noises, pink noises. Anywhere you get music playlists, you can get this. That's Spotify or YouTube or wherever you can get these playlists. Okay, so you're going to start by thinking about white noise of some sort. Brown noise is my favorite. It's just a little bit easier on my ears, and I think the dogs prefer it. And then throw in some other stuff as well. TV, radio, fans. Okay, so think about layering the noise. However, I want you to also consider building in the concept of a safe space for your dog. So forget the stuff you're reading about, give your dog a crate to go to, put a blanket over the crate. For most dogs, that doesn't cut it. It's not usually quiet enough. It's not usually dark enough. And for my dog, the biggest challenge, he loves his crate, by the way. He loves his crate. He spends most of his day sleeping in a crate with the door open. But he wants to be with me when he's scared. And no, you can't reinforce fear by cuddling. When they need us in a panic, it's essential that we give them affection. They don't just want affection, they need our affection. So we must give them that affection. And if your dog's in a crate, unless you're going to crawl in the crate with them, well, you could do that. It's not going to cut it. So you need to find a space that's going to be quiet enough that you can have all these things going on, the fan, the white noise, and the music. And a bathroom is the ideal place for this. Most of us with dogs with noise phobia default to a bathroom as a safe space. And that can be, we're lucky because we've got one of those internal bathrooms that doesn't have any windows and it has a built-in fan, even better. If you've got windows, and I've done this when we've been in other places, you've got to think about blacking out those windows. So have either something temporary, you can actually get things called window plugs. Yeah, I'm serious. You can get things called window plugs. You can make them yourself, but just something that you can pop into the window that will completely blacken the light. Dogs who hate noise often end up hating the light that comes with the noise, because the light predicts noise, right? So with thunder, we hear the lightning first, then we hear the thunder. So small room, a space where you can play the music, have the fan going, where you can be with your dog, but where you can block out the noise a little bit, as much as you can, and where you can definitely block out the light. Okay, so then the other thing we can do to turn down the intensity is we can use situational medication. With situational medication, what we're doing is just ever so slightly changing our dog's tolerance of the scary thing. It's not going to, for most dogs, make them go, oh, I don't care about this now. It will just make them a tiny bit less sensitive, or even, a bit less sensitive. And that gives us the wiggle room we need to start working on this condition. Because going back to what I talked about before about desensitization and counter conditioning, if you've ever had a dog in a panic, which if you've got a noise phobic dog, you'll have seen, most of them won't take food. And most of them aren't in a learning space when they've got the food, when they're panicky. So all of these things together can help us turn down the intensity just enough so that our dog doesn't panic as much. We can start getting the food on board. Don't be stingy with the food. Don't be stingy with the food. It needs to be amazing. Don't worry about whether you're giving your dog chicken or, just stuff that he loves. You even go for it with the hot dogs and the burgers or whatever your dog can cope with. We've got an emergency situation here and we're fighting it with food. So go all out on the food. So we've got a safe space where you can be with your dog. We've got medication helping turn down the intensity. We've got internal noise turning down the intensity. And then we are just going to go through this drill as often as we need to. Now, we're not always going to be able to do that. Sometimes we will miss a storm. Sometimes we won't be around when it happens. But as much as we can, we need to be there when the stuff is going on. Just reading a comment from Nancy. My dog comes to get me to follow him into the bathroom even before the storm has arrived. Yes, but I think that's because, sounds like my dog actually, I think that's because, Nancy, you're doing the right thing. So what happened with Tex, we live upside down, so this bathroom was actually downstairs, but kitchen and living room are upstairs. When he knew there was going to be a storm coming in, he would go downstairs. He would go to that space. And I knew that was our cue to get the blanket and the chair for me and ask Alexa to play some music and be in there with him. We always kept food, not the chicken, but like high value dried treats in there along with bully sticks. And if I had the time on the way, I'd grab some chicken from the fridge. Yeah, lots of dogs. There's mixed evidence on this, Linda, and I like my evidence. Linda's saying, can they feel the thunderstorm before they can hear it? But there's a really good chance that there's something going on, because some of these dogs do seem to react before we even know that there's a storm brewing. So there's something going on, isn't there? And it may be, maybe they are feeling it, because going back to the avalanche bomb that I was talking about, I think we feel that after we hear it. So you hear the bomb and then we feel the house shake. But I don't doubt for a minute that there's something going on. Okay, so tackling the intensity is the biggest challenge, but it can be done. And it's painful and it's hard, and it means going into this space with your dog at 3 a.m. in the morning because the storm's rolling in. And if you live in a part of the world where the storms are coming every day, it means spending a lot of time doing that. And in a way, it's even harder than with a dog with separation anxiety, because at least with a dog with separation anxiety, when you're at home with them, you can be doing something else. But if you've got a storm going on and you've got a panicky dog who can't bear the storm, you need to be there for them. Let me talk about some myths about noise phobia and the reaction to fear, because there are many. You might have been told that you're making it worse when you cuddle your dog. Whether this is a noise phobic dog or a dog who doesn't like people with hats or who doesn't like the vets, you are not going to make it worse by cuddling your dog. You are not. Your dog needs you in that moment. This isn't a dog acting up. This isn't a dog looking for attention who thinks, oh, all I'm going to do is act panicked and then I'm going to get some attention. No, it's a dog in a state of petrification, absolute sheer fear. So no, comfort your dog. It doesn't make the fear worse. And there is plenty of articles out there that can tell you why that doesn't work. Maybe that's a topic for another day. And then another myth or another aspect of this that I want to challenge is that it's not about putting your dog in an indestructible crate. That is not going to make your dog feel better about the fireworks or the thunder. In fact, it's probably going to make your dog worse, because not only are they in a blind panic, but now they can't escape. If your dog loves a crate, like my boy Tex does, by all means, let him go to his crate, but keep the door open. Let him choose. The very last thing you want to do with a panicky dog is to try to shut them in away from you. Let them get access to you. Let them come to you when they need comfort. So forget the indestructible crate. Allow them crate access, sure, but forget about locking them in. It's just imprisoning them in their fear. And what about playing firework videos on YouTube? Well, lots of people with dogs who have firework phobia or noise phobia will tell you that it doesn't cut it. They can watch a movie where, World War is breaking out and the dogs don't react. They can watch, a New Year's Eve show where they're showing the fireworks at midnight and the dogs don't react. So some dogs will, but a lot of dogs just go, it's not the same. So working with those noises isn't necessarily going to help you. I mean, you can try it. You can try it as a way of turning down the intensity, but you might find your dog just doesn't react at all. But no harm trying. The best ways to turn down the intensity are what I talked about just now. Okay, so I am beyond thrilled with where my boy has got to. I'm pinching myself, and I actually don't know if I quite believe it. We went away a couple of weeks ago and it was a really bad stormy period. In fact, it was so bad. And I knew we were getting a house sitter in to look after Tex, but the forecast was so bad. I said to my husband at one point, I don't know if we can go away, because we can't really expect our house sitter to get up at 2:30 in the morning and go and sit in a dark bathroom with him. But she said she was going to do it and she was fine. And I'm texting her every day. How was it? I saw there was a storm. She's like, no, he was fine. So part of me was thinking, oh, he wasn't fine, but she doesn't want to tell me. Or he wasn't fine, but she thinks I'm overreacting. But then 2 days ago, on Canada Day here, where the fireworks were going off and Tex isn't even raising an eyebrow, I'm like, okay. So I thought he had been improving for the last 7 or 8 months through storms, through avalanche bombs, through fireworks. But sometimes you don't quite believe what you're seeing. But I should believe it because I know this stuff works. Do I think he's over this because the last few weeks and months he's been getting better and better and better? No, I don't think he's over this. I think we'll have nights where it will be awful again, where he'll be petrified, where we'll be sat in the bathroom with him getting colds, but giving him bully sticks and cuddles. But I know he's on a trajectory where he's finding it more and more manageable, and his quality of life is improving as a result. So don't let anybody tell you that behavior modification and medications can't change a dog's life, because they absolutely can. And final note on that is we never at any point tried to suppress his behavior. We never punished him for freaking out. We never shut him in a crate when he freaked out. We let him do what he needed to do. So we changed how he felt. We never suppressed his behavior. People will tell you that, if your dog's howling, put a bark collar on them. Or if they're freaking out, put them in a crate. All that's doing is suppressing a behavior. It doesn't stop your dog from being scared. In fact, it most likely makes them more scared. But I do recognize there are challenges. If you live in a part of the world where the storms are constant, parts of the US, for example, then you still need to be able to employ this drill, and you're not going to get it done every day, but do it as often as you can. And if you can't get in ahead of the storm, just try what we call solo counter conditioning. That's where you might not be able to do all the stuff, get in the room, get the noise going in the room, but you might be able to get some food on board. So you might still be able to counter condition. It's great if you can plan and you can give your dogs meds 2 hours ahead, but that's not always going to happen. If you're in the US or parts of Europe, do speak to your vet about a medication called Soleo, because the great thing about Soleo is it helps with noise phobia, but you can give it instantly, so you can give it in the moment. With many other meds, you have to give it before the dog gets stressed. If your dog isn't doing well on the situational med, I recognize this is another challenge. Don't give up. I can't tell you how many situational meds we tried with Tex. Some of them were awful. Trazodone made him really jumpy. Alprazolam made him really stressed because it just made him incredibly hungry, ravenous. So he was panicked and ravenous. But it took us a while, and we found a medication that worked for him. So if you've tried situational meds and you're thinking, yeah, Julie, but that doesn't work, keep going. And if your dog, as I mentioned, is already in a panic, you've missed your chance to get the medication on board, the fireworks are going off, just try the counter conditioning anyway. You might be able to get some solo counter conditioning in. So let's have a look at the questions. Hi, Linda. Without her medication, my girl pants and wanders. With her med, she either goes to the bathroom or under the bed. She's tiny. Yeah, I know she is. She's very cute and can fit and sleeps. I lay next to her on the floor and just to rub her head. Oh, last night she fell sound asleep under the bed. That makes me so happy, because what I love about that is that you persevered. You've obviously had lots of nights where she struggled, and yet you kept going, and it's got better and it's got better. I love that she knows where to go now. She's found a place that makes her happy. That's amazing. Well done, Linda. That is brilliant. Linda in the Netherlands says, my dog would always try to get away and wouldn't want to be with me. Yeah, and well, that's fine, isn't it? Last week's I noticed she does look for me, so that's an improvement, I guess. Yeah, and yeah, it's true. Not every dog is in that state of mind where they're looking for us. It sounds to me like, was she trying to escape the house, the apartment, Linda? It could be the case, I guess, because some dogs are just in complete flight mode, aren't they? Just get me out of here. And obviously that's the worst thing that they can do. Interestingly, though, have you ever noticed that some dogs, even though they hate thunder and fireworks when they're at home, when they're on a walk, they cope with it? It's really interesting. And Linda says, I was sitting with her in the bathroom in the middle of the night and I declined to watch. I decided to watch some SO Pro videos. Linda's one of my trainers, being there for her no matter what. I know it is, yeah, it's hard. Who wants to get up in the middle of the night and just sit in a cold, dark bathroom? But it's worth it because it does take you on, it helps you progress, and it's what we need to do. And you know, even if it didn't help your dog get better in the long run, it's helping them in that moment. It's helping them deal with their fear in that moment. And that's something really precious that you can do for them. So I would say don't give up. Definitely don't give up on medication. Don't give up on the process. I feel like if I can do it with Tex, given how panicked he was and how many dogs in a panic I've seen, how bad he was, I feel like there is hope, but it's not going to be easy, and it's definitely going to be work. So let me just see, do we have any questions? Let me go and open up the screen. 1 second. So if you've got questions about thunder phobia or firework phobia, let me know. I've got a question for you, actually. Is anybody here in a part of the world where you have constant thunder or constant fireworks? Pop in the comments and tell me. So where are you, and are you having a challenge with that constant noise? Let me just open this up. Yeah, so, oh, that's an interesting comment on YouTube there. So not at this time of year, but definitely, yeah, later in the year. Right, so I'm guessing you must be in the UK. I can't see your name, it didn't pop up. But yeah, that can be a really, really challenging time, because don't you find that it kind of spreads? it used to be, you know, a week, and then it becomes 2 weeks, and then it feels like it's almost 2 months of fireworks around October. And I think, is anybody here in the US? Probably not, because hopefully you're doing something nice for July 4th. But pop in the comments and tell me if you're in the US. One of the challenges that I think you face is the same thing. It's the constant fireworks through the summer, paired with the constant storms. Yeah, that can be difficult. Question for you. Hands up if you've got a dog who hates both fireworks and thunder. So there's no distinguishing. They hate fireworks and they hate thunder. Hands up if that's you. Pop in the comment. Lyndon says, I'm going to talk to my vet about medication. Yay, do it. Because look, it worked for Linda Croy. It worked for my dog. It really does help. Yes, I'm really curious. Does your dog struggle with fireworks and thunder, or is it just one of those? I think it's quite common to see both, but I'm always curious when some dogs struggle with some, but not others. Just fireworks for Kelly. So not thunder, just the fireworks. And they're different. I mean, they're obviously different. I'm in the US. Fireworks go off for weeks before the holiday and a week afterwards. So annoying. Yeah, and it feels like it's every night, doesn't it? And unpredictable. I mean, that's the thing with thunder as well. We can't predict it. So I know that many of you know me because I work with you with separation anxiety. But I say, and I don't mean to be Pollyanna about it, I say very often that we can control separation anxiety much more than we can control thunder and fireworks. Laura, you've got all three in one dog. Yes. Oh, that is tough. That is really tough, because then you're worried, Laura, about when you go out, right? You're worried about what am I going to do when I get up, increasing durations if there's a storm. But I know people probably think, oh, she's being overly bright and cheery about managing absences with a dog with separation anxiety. But we make those decisions for the most part. Once we can afford to have a sitter, or we're lucky enough to have friends involved with looking after our dog or family, we're in control. But we're not in control of other people's fireworks. We are not in control of the thunder and lightning that reeks down on us. So there are definitely pros and cons to both phobias, but I do like the control we get with separation anxiety. We are completely in control. And when you get the Holy Trinity, that's interesting that you call it that. And the good thing, at least with a dog with separation anxiety, when you're working on that separation anxiety, you are around. So I guess, Laura, you're there to catch them when they're struggling with the thunder and fireworks too. Linda said, my dog was fine until a firework exploded over her head, and that it took a year with meds to get her outside. Yes. Even popping a bubble gum would freak her. Oh, poor baby. From that moment, she's scared of thunderstorms and fireworks. I want to come and give her a big cuddle if she'd let me, but maybe she wouldn't. Only if she'd let me. Question for you as well, everybody. Does anybody here have a dog who doesn't like kitchen noises? And what I mean by that is beeps and bings and pings. So a really common and growing phobia is dogs who don't like those sorts of noises. In our house, it happens to be smoke alarms. So, and not so much smoke alarms going off even, but sometimes when you get a power cut, everything comes back on with a bleep, doesn't it? And two of my dogs actually really hate that. So we've changed our smoke alarms so that they don't make those noises when they get cut off. I'm really conscious of kitchen appliances that beep and bing, and always try to make sure that we've got dog-friendly beeps. Laura says that's one of the reasons I've never really done much training on the Sepangs, because I've been unable to desensitize him to noises from when I'm gone. Can turn a CD of fireworks up to high. My neighbours complain and he slumbers on, but a car backfires and he sits bolt upright. Laura, I was just saying that a couple of minutes ago, maybe about 15 minutes ago before you joined, that you'll get told to play a CD or go onto YouTube and play fireworks videos, or a storm playlist. And some dogs will react, but I find more dogs just go, like your dog. And so it doesn't really help us with the training process. Could you do it? Could you desensitize and counter condition to those noises? Yeah, you could, but is it really worth it? Yeah, the smoke alarm. So what we did with the smoke alarm, Kelly, is, well, there's nothing you can do. You need a smoke alarm, right? The smoke alarm's going to go off. Probably like you, I'm hypersensitive to smoke going off though. So as soon as there's a hint of the toaster, the toast getting smoky, I'm like, pounce on the toaster because I'm trying to manage it because I know what's going to happen. Put the extractor fan on full. And the problem with those noises is, again, they're uncontrollable and dogs do definitely sensitize to them. But it's interesting that sometimes as well, they don't react to the bings, but they might react to the bomb, the explosion noises, and vice versa. All I can say with that is, I'm sure you've done it, but you just get really on top of, don't you, that turning off beeps if you can, knowing when things are going to beep. Like I use a bread maker, and this morning I know it beeps and I can't turn off the beep, but I know it beeps when it ends. So I always set a timer like for 1 minute before it ends and make sure that I know that it's about to stop. Sometimes all we can do is just kind of manage this stuff. Linda says, yes, using an apple slicer, fly swatter, and even the TV at times. She is very noise phobic. So one thing I forgot to mention actually about dogs who have an ongoing fear of noise, any noise, and where it's not necessarily daily, but it might be daily or it's weekly, and it's just ongoing. It's not big event stuff, but like you say, it's the TV or it's the smoke alarm. It's really, really important to talk to your vet about meds, and not situational meds, but long-term meds. I think most vets will tell you that fluoxetine seems to have a really good track record for dogs who are noise sensitive. And definitely check for pain. There is a big link between noise sensitivity and pain. I've seen it actually with my dog Percy. When his back is really sore, he's really sensitive about things like putting down plates. And I can kind of see it because big, sudden noises make them jump. And if you've got a painful back and you jump, that's not good. So that noise then becomes even more sensitizing because you're like, whoa, don't do that. Linda says, it's fine. Yara is fine when she knows what the sound is, but if she doesn't, she will stop barking. But also that part seems to be improving. Yay, that is really good news. So we take comfort from the little things, don't we? The little things. So thank you so much for joining me today. I just want to say, wherever you are in the world, if you're going through a storm season, if you're going through fireworks season, I just wish you the very, very best of luck. Do what you can. We can only do what we can. Don't give up on the meds. Keep working on the safe space. If you dive into the comments here and you're watching on replay, you'll see that people are talking about successes that they've had. And it is a slow process, but in the end, just worth it. And one last comment from Kelly was talking with a friend how their dogs go to their safe space when triggered by fireworks. Because my dog has separation anxiety on top of everything. I am his safe space. So I have to physically cuddle, hug, massage, and compression hug him when he's severely triggered. Kelly, my dog with the severe noise phobia doesn't have separation anxiety. I can't tell you where he is now. He's somewhere. But, he's in the house. He's not wandering. But he's somewhere and I don't know where he is. But when the noise happens, he comes and finds me. So I'm sure it's even more the case with your dog. But for lots of dogs, they come to us because, they spend their lives looking to us for information and clarification. And we make all the big decisions in their life. So no wonder they come to us when they're worried. And you're doing the right thing, giving him a big cuddle. In fact, I'm going to end on that. If your dog is scared, ignore what everybody's telling you. Give your dog a cuddle. Good luck, everybody. We can get through this. All right, I'll catch you online soon. Bye for now.